Hello Aries, this is a tarot reading for you for the month of February. Usually I prefer to do timeless readings, but I thought that maybe once a month I could post some monthly predictions for each sign. For this tarot reading I'm using my own cards. I call them the Tarot of Duality, and at the end I will pull some special or extra cards from some newer decks I made. I put a lot of effort into this deck, and I have another card deck that you can see right now, medieval oracle cards. And this Tarot of Duality, it has 108 cards. And the two special decks that I'm going to use at the end, they have less cards, and I just did them very quickly. I only did them for myself. Or I made them for myself, sorry. Yeah, just let me try to get into this reading. To be honest, it feels very different from all the other readings I did before. I have a very homely feeling about this reading. It has a lot to do with householding. And it also gives me a kind of a vibe of being in a transition, being like in a space between past and future, or being in the midst of a change. Sorry, I have to take some time. The energy I'm getting from this reading is very different than the other readings I did. I don't mean that in any negative way. I also get a lot of different things from this reading. It could be that you're moving into a new apartment or house, or the other way around, you're leaving some apartment or house. Or what I was actually getting in the first moments is that there is no moving. You might just stay at the place where you are, but you might renovate or redecorate something, repair stuff. I also feel like there's something about garden work, which is weird in February. I mean, it depends on where you live, which part of the world. But here in Germany, usually in February, there's only a tiny bit of garden work. Sometimes in our garden, like some branches are being cut off if they are loose before they fall on someone's head. But actually there's not a lot of gardening here in Germany during this month, but it depends on where you live. And I don't know why this is coming up, because it seems quite insignificant somehow why this is coming up in a tarot reading, but I'm getting this so strongly right now and it's just confusing me. I also feel like you will probably enjoy being in nature. Maybe you will go for long walks. And now suddenly I'm being hit by an energy of loss, of trauma. But not that you will go through that during February, but it is for those people who've already been through something really terrible, like really terrible. I don't mean a divorce or breakup. I know that can also be painful, but I mean something really drastically terrible, like losing your child, or I don't know, being raped, or losing your leg. I don't know, it's just something really terrible. You know what I mean? Like things that people often don't want to talk about, and especially tarot readings, I often find them very superficial, and I think that they often don't include such horrible things, but especially people who went through something horrible, if they can't find a satisfying amount of healing in a therapy sometimes, they are seeking for help in some esoteric or spiritual things, and then they stumble over, all the superficial stuff, how to attract a lot of money and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And I don't want to do this kind of tarot readings or this kind of spirituality. It's not my thing, and yeah, I don't want to give that to people. So I have also been through a lot of very painful and terrible things in my life. And I think I just want to be here for those people who know the bad sides of life. And I hope that my readings will, help someone resonate with those people who are not entirely superficial. And I'm getting here that you probably went through something like deeply devastating, but you are finding peace somehow, even if it is your child that died, maybe in a very terrible way. I don't know, I just have this calm and peaceful feeling, as if you find or already found, as you enter February, you already found something within yourself that can make you trust life again. And I feel not like you're going dancing or singing around, jumping around, being completely blissful. I just feel this calmness and peace, this that doesn't come from any logical stuff that we tell ourselves, like everything is fine and God loves everyone and blah, blah, blah. No, it comes from, from your core somehow. And I feel like during February, you will be active somehow, but in a very slow and comfortable way. You might change stuff in your household that you just left because you were traumatized by something and you just couldn't do a lot of things because you were in a kind of shock. And sometimes, we have a broken water kettle, and instead of buying a new one, many people can afford a new water kettle. Here in Germany, at least, you can buy some water kettles for 15 euros or something like that. But sometimes, we just are so hurt and broken that we can't even take care of the smallest things. Or just exchanging a light bulb sometimes. It seems too hard for us if we are really going through something, and then we just don't enter this dark room anymore in the evening, or we enter it with a candle just instead of buying a new light bulb and exchanging it. I feel like there is something in your household, and this will help you heal further. Like, you will keep yourself busy, and you will get a feeling of control back. I also like that, for example, maybe some people would say it's unhealthy, but I like working out or clean or declutter my apartment when I'm going through hell inwardly, or when I went through something very dark and I'm slowly coming out of it. It makes us often feel very powerless. Like we have zero control over life, especially if we're dealing with any kind of abuse. It makes us feel so powerless, and I think sometimes it can be like a therapy to just put structure into your apartment, or, it just feels meditative to clean the floors, to repair stuff, to it gets at least some sense of control back and structure and order. And I feel like you could be doing that during February in a very peaceful way. And if you have a garden or a balcony and the temperature allows it, you might do some work over there. Even if you live in an area where during winter nothing grows, you can still do some garden work, clean up something in your garden. And in general, even if you don't have a balcony or garden, it could just be your home plants, or maybe you are buying some plants and this will give you a good energy. It could also just be what I was getting actually in the beginning very quickly, There's something just being in forests, being in nature. Even if you live in a big city, you can take a train or a car and drive to the next landscape area. And I feel like you're probably going to do this, and it will help you tremendously to go for walks in the sun. If you're lucky in your area during February, the sun will shine a lot. I'm actually seeing a lot of sun. There's a sun here and here. So that's the first part of the reading. Now I'm struggling again a little bit. Sorry, sometimes I have those readings where I'm not immediately sure what this means. And sometimes I want to split off some cards a little bit. There is this morality card. I feel like this could be something about whatever you went through. Maybe if you try to get professional help, or so-called professional help. By experience, I can tell you that often therapies are very bad, just especially when we experience abuse and then seek help. Often we just fall into another trap, and then we have a kind of abusive therapist or something. There could be something about that, but I also feel like for some it could be a therapist or a doctor, like someone who's actually supposed to help you but who made this worse. And then we often stick to this therapy and we don't have the courage to end this, because maybe we think this person is educated and they know what they're doing, but actually they are just hurting you. And let me show you this card again. You know, like she is this innocent little girl with this very good and pure heart, and he is the dirty, scolding priest or whatever, who is full of sin. But he projects that into that innocent girl, and he's scolding her, and she hasn't even done anything terrible yet. And there's this little demon that's coming out of his black hole space, and he just rips her heart out, like he wants to steal her innocence. It's a bit dramatic, but some people are like that. Actually, yeah, many people are like that, unfortunately. At least that's my experience. As I said, I have also gone through a lot in my life, and yeah, if it's not a therapist or doctor, it could be someone in a space of authority. I mean, it could literally be a priest or something. Someone. It could be a lawyer. It could also just be an older relative. Like someone who's very heartless and scolding. And I think that because the next card is wrong direction, I think you will realize something about this person and you will never talk to them again. Never hire them for their so-called professional help again. If it's something that happens in private life, you will cut contact with this person. There is no way back for you towards this person. You know, as I said, we often struggle to reject people because we feel guilty and think we have to see something good in everyone, no matter how bad they appear. But I think you will realize that this is not true, and this is very painful to you, and this person is just another kind of abuse on the top of some other kind of abuse or trauma. Like you will realize that this person is doing something deeply spiritually abusive, like robbing you of your most important inner energy, or at least trying that, and you will just straightly walk away from this person. Then we have the honesty card. And it just tells me what I already said, actually. Like, you're just being honest with yourself about that, even if it's painful, because when we realize that there are such people in our environment and that they are even in a position of authority, it sometimes can make us feel very desperate and lost in the world. Like, oh my God, I have to in some way be ruled by such people. Like, society is ruled by some people like that. It's a terrible thought. It makes us feel very powerless and helpless and, yeah, just lost and alone. If it's a family member, it makes us feel alone. And it takes a great amount of honesty with ourselves, and I think you will have that. And I often see the honesty card as a healing card as well, because often it is in an instant when we admit something to ourselves that we try to suppress, push away, we open up to that terrible, painful fact. Right in that moment, something can already be released from our energy system. Often it is also that it isn't being released all at once, but just in smaller installments. And during that process of healing that goes step by step, often we learn a lot. But the first step is to admit it, to have a painful realization, and in that moment something will just open up in you, and like maybe your higher spiritual guidance or whatever will then be able to reach your heart, to pull some of this negative stuff out and replace it with something better. Then we have new and autumn. And from the beginning on, I was struggling with this autumn card all the time. I don't know what it means. Sometimes my seasonal cards, they don't stand literally for seasons, but just for some energy that seasons could represent. I said it earlier in the reading. It could just stand for this transitioning phase, this change, this space in between, like past and future, or here and there, and A and B. Like, you already left place A and you are on the way to place B, but you haven't reached place B yet. So it's something about that. There's just this change in the air, and it's not like a super, maybe it is a super big change externally, but I'm not being shown this in the reading, because this reading is more about your inner development, not so much about your external life circumstances. They could also change, maybe in the next few months, but I think really the importance here is on how you feel towards yourself, towards life, towards the wrong people around you. I think you will just be having like this sense of renewal, rebirth. And I feel like even if the worst thing you can imagine happened in your life, that's you know, I don't want to give people false hope. That's also something that many tarot readers do. But I'm honestly feeling that in this reading it feels very grounded and stable and peaceful, and I feel like proper healing is possible, like healing entirely from something and seeing it from a very spiritual point of view. Not seeing it logically, but like experiencing it, feeling it. I also feel like you will, in general, maybe lose some interest in things that you enjoyed before, which I also don't mean in a negative or bad way. Maybe you have just grown out of something, you've grown out of your shoes, literally. It could even also just mean that maybe, you know, you did not only neglect certain works in your household when you felt were really terrible, but maybe you also wore old shoes. Like, I also do that sometimes. I don't want to buy new shoes. I wear them until they are completely rocked down and have holes, and then I throw them away and buy new ones. I know some women are the complete opposite. They have to have like 200 pairs of shoes. It's not so much my thing. I'm like this with almost everything. Like, most things I just use them until they can't be used anymore. And maybe you've been through something like that. You know, when we are really shocked and traumatized, we also don't care a lot about how we look. So maybe this could also just mean that you're renewing your wardrobe, you're renewing your apartment, getting a new haircut, something like that. Or yeah, you could just recolor your walls. Like, you just want to start a new life and leave this behind. You will never forget what happened, but you have embedded it into your life. You have accepted that it happened. And I'm not seeing like a lot of ambition or something like that in this reading. Like, you're having huge plans now to, I don't know, become a superstar or rule the world or something like that. You know what people always... This is also a thing in many tarot readings. I don't see that here. I feel like you're just being very peaceful and calm. And you're just doing what you can do, what you want to do, but you're also not overdoing anything. It's just, it feels very balanced. So, my God, this reading is already so long. I just want to come to the next part. And I'm going to introduce you to this tarot deck I made in the last 3 days. I painted it very quickly, so it doesn't look perfect, but I did them for myself. And yeah, just to use them here in those readings. I call this a lifestyle tarot. It's about food, health, and some activities. And it's just suggestions, you know, please don't take it too literal, because I'm not your doctor. So if something health regarded comes up, please check in with your doctor instead of utterly relying on this tarot reading here. Number 1 is sleep. Oh, that sounds like very suitable. Lungs. Candle. Oh, I think someone here is very allowed to treat him or herself. Sunlight. Oh, that's so beautiful and suitable. At the bottom of the deck we have apple. It makes totally sense to me. Sleep, candle, and sunlight. Come on, treat yourself. Rest, even if you feel healed. Oh, I'm just getting another thing. I mean, I was mentioning so many examples with trauma and blah, blah, blah. It could also be that you've been through a, what is the English word? Chemotherapy or something, you know, like something really devastating that happened to you, and you're over it almost, you're through with it. You can take care of things now. You will take care, and you will feel really calm and peaceful while you repair your stuff and renew your things. And in between, there's just this suggestion: sleep a lot at the evening or in the evening. Light up some candles, make it comfortable. Probably it also means just avoid too much artificial light. I think it can be very soothing to only use candles in the evening sometimes. Not watch too much TV or, you know, loud stuff that with constantly moving pictures. It can cause a lot of unconscious stress, I think. So maybe it is just best for you to go to bed early, sleep as long as you can. I mean, yeah, some people have to go to work And we can't always sleep whenever we want, but maybe if you've been through something really terrible, you don't go to work at the moment. This could also be a thing. Just use that time to sleep. Sunlight, it's just what I said very early in the reading about going out in nature. I told you I'm seeing a lot of long walks through the forest or the fields, just some very natural, original kind of landscapes. I feel this will help you so much to just go for long walks or even go hiking in the sunlight. And when you get home and it's dark, use candlelight. And with the lungs card, it could just be like a little warning about that. You should, especially if you go outside a lot, wear proper clothing, sorry, my pronunciation, so that you're not catching a cold or something like that. For some, it could also mean if you've been smoking a lot, because that's also a thing. People deal with trauma and stress in different ways. Some people start to drink, some people start to smoke. So it's might be time to reduce that or just stop that. Yes. Next one is the animal messages. This deck, I haven't come very far with it because I didn't have the time to continue. I started it in the weekend. I don't know. I haven't put a lot of effort in it. It's also just some very quick scribbles I made. It has only 25, did I already say that? Had only 25 cards yet, but I'm planning to add a lot more. I already made a long list with ideas I'm having for this deck. I'm gonna use it anyway. And it's a very sarcastic and funny card deck. You have the penguin, I slip and slide, I stumble. And I think this card is just telling us that if you feel clumsy or, a little bit chaotic now and then, it's okay to rest. I mean, even if you have almost entirely gone through whatever you're going or went through, we can have some small setbacks now and then. Maybe if you are colorizing your wall and somehow you're always coming over the corner and making a bit of a mess or something like that, maybe then, don't be perfectionistic about the work that you are doing here in your garden and household. Do it patiently. Next one, the sheep, I follow you. How can we integrate that? Sorry, I have to think. I'm getting a feeling that you are the sheep and you're not following a person. It's like more you're following the light at the end of the tunnel, which also brings me back to the sunlight again, and we have the sun here and the sun here. Like you are following maybe an inner voice that you are not even properly aware yet. Because as I said so many times already, you are in this state in between two things. And I feel you don't even know where the future will lead you, but you just have a feeling that something will change, even if you don't actively bring in that change, it will come. It's just a vibe, it's just a feeling. And you are following that voice. And the shark I kill and have no social life. It's very sarcastic, but I think it just means that you might feel like you have no nerve for anyone's stuff, for anything superficial, for people like this. So you're just cutting them out, very sharp, brutal. Push them away. It's your right. No one has the right to hurt you. And then accept that you are not, that you will just tolerate it. Oh my God, sorry, I can't speak today. I feel like I'm getting a little bit sick. I also worry that my voice will break down while I'm talking because I feel like I have a little bit of a sore throat. But so far it has been okay. I also think it refers just to, because I don't see you having any guests at home. And I also don't see you suffering because of that. I feel like you just really want to be alone. Like you really, really need that urgently. And you will really enjoy that, to be just by yourself as much as you can. Even when you go for walks, you will try to do as many things as you can just on your own. So I hope this reading will resonate with someone. And thank you so much for watching.